Hi, my name is Dustin Akers. I'm a math teacher at Porterville College, and for my CLEAR project, I wanted to see how cultural relevance and a growth mindset would impact my stats class. There were 3 elements to my project. First thing I did was a mathematical mindset assignment and paper. I used a Patoli game to have the students learn about odds, and then I had them finish with a make their own game project, included a presentation and a paper. My hypothesis was that by implementing these projects, that my students would improve their achievement, attitudes, and success in my course. But I didn't just base these ideas on my own. I also used prior research, including a dissertation by Thomas Mjonga, where he looked at examining the use of culturally relevant pedagogy in math courses. His findings were that students had a mostly positive response to these types of lessons, but it wasn't just their attitudes that improved, they also saw an increase of performance. And this increase was even greater for students of color. I looked at another dissertation by Danielle Smith Morton, which was about growth mindset and grit among African American Black students at the community college, and the findings here were that the growth mindset helped students overcome stereotypes and improve their attitudes in their courses. And last but not least, I used a book called Choosing to See, A Framework for Equity in a Math Classroom by Pamela Sita and Kendall Brown. Highly recommend this, and I had a few takeaways from this. One of my first takeaways was just this idea called I See You Care, which is basically encouraging us to include our students as experts, having us be critically conscious about the learning, having us understand our students well, making sure we use culturally relevant curricula, that we assess and activate and build on prior knowledge, that we release control, and we expect more from our students. This is something I want to make a poster for and stick on my campus. After reading the book, some of my main takeaways that I liked was that it was helping students build confidence, helping make our students visible, empowering them through the ownership of their own learning by using culturally relevant curriculum, building on that prior knowledge, allowing multiple modalities for presenting that knowledge, and I put releasing control, though that was the one I was probably the least comfortable with. For the Growth Mindset project, I saw a high engagement and success was an 89% average on that assignment. Comments I got were that students said that they discovered there was lots of ways to get the answer. It helped them see they don't need to fear math. They saw how it helps students when they're able to draw out and see how math works, i.e. relevance. They learned how fixed mindset's dangerous, right? They just told me that the assignment was fun, interesting, and educational, and that when your brain is struggling, it's actually learning the most. Doing the Patoli game and the create your own game assignment, I got a lot of positive feedback as well. The students told me with the game that we're finally able to measure probability, which made me a little sad. I thought we were measuring probability before. It told me that the students helped understand the probabilities and it was fun and interesting. For the project, they liked that they just got to make a game. They liked how they got to analyze the projects, kind of think about how they would work in casinos and whether we'd win or lose. I had one student say, "This was my favorite activity." As far as my overall takeaways from this, I've seen a higher level of positive feedback on the projects that I traditionally do in my class, but I've actually also seen a higher level of positive attitudes towards quizzes, towards other things that I use that normally help students to study and prepare for tests. So they've actually seen more value in the class overall and not just in these fun projects. My other takeaway, which actually somewhat surprised me, was that the presentations the students did were amazing. And I'm not talking about just amazing compared to other classes. I've just finished a doctorate program and some of these presentations were better than what I saw there. So this left me kind of wondering why. Why are they doing so much better here? Well, they were presenting on something they knew, something they're interested in, and it was their data, their game. I think this sense of ownership gave them pride in their projects and helped them want to present it well. So if you're wanting to look more into this for yourself, I would strongly recommend that you look into these 3 resources that I cited, including the dissertation by Thomas Mjonga. I think that was really interesting. The dissertation by Danielle Smith Morton, again, kind of building that idea of grit. But I mean, the big takeaway, probably the big aha, was that book, The Choosing to See. It was a very powerful book. So if you have an opportunity, I strongly recommend you read that book. If you're wanting to actually see the assignments that I did, please feel free to download these. We'll have links as well. Or you can contact me at my email, dustin.akers@portervillecollege.edu. Thank you for this time. I hope this was interesting, and I really appreciated the opportunity to do the research and to share it with you. Thank you.